Alright, take a minute and copy this down. So chapter 6 is all about percentages, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because we really don't have a whole lot of time, which is a bit of a shame. But we're only going to concentrate specifically on sections 3 and 4, but there's a little bit of everything from chapter 6 in this lesson, so we're just going to title this chapter 6. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about percentages, and percentages are very, very important because it's one of the most used part of math in people's lives. Percentages are everywhere, and specifically they are everywhere where taxes are involved. And if you don't pay taxes now, you will be paying them in a few years once you're an adult. You'll be filing your own taxes. You will be buying articles and you have to figure out what's the tax on that. I mean, you're already paying tax for almost anything that you buy. You go to the store, you go to a fast food restaurant, you go to Jamba Juice and you pay a certain amount of money, and then you have to pay a little bit extra. That's a tax. Well, taxes are percentages. So percentages are everywhere, they're all around us, and it's something that you will use pretty much every single day in your life. So this is an important chapter, which is why I'm not skipping it as I planned earlier on. We'll do graphing a little later. So what is a percentage? A percentage is part of a whole. So imagine if you had a pizza. And everyone's eating the pizza. And usually people don't eat the pizza, in one big slice. You slice it up. Well, I guess unless it's one of those small little pizzas. But if we consider that one whole pizza is 100%, once you try taking slices out of that pizza, which most of us do, we cut it apart, those parts become percentages. Or parts of the pizza. And you can cut the pizza into 4 slices, let's say, and you're going to have 4 equal parts of that pizza. But you can cut the pizza into smaller slices, and the smaller the slices are, less of a part of that pizza each slice becomes, and the percentage shrinks. I mean, real life application, percentages and pizzas. I mean, you guys eat pizza, right? But this is what percents look like in the real world. They have a number and this percentage sign after them, and it's sometimes difficult to deal with them in math because, well, how do you work with a percentage number? Do you use this particular number directly because it's got this little weird percentage sign after it? Can you multiply something by 50%? So you multiply it by 50, or can you add it to something? It becomes a little bit clumsy. And the answer is no. You can't mathematically deal with these numbers directly. But you can convert all of these easily into something that you can use. And this is how we do it. First of all, I'm going to rewrite the number right here. And I'll do this for every single one in just a little bit. Next, you find the decimal point. So where is the decimal point currently in the 50? Well, currently the decimal point is right here, right after the 50. So to convert a decimal into a regular number that you can use in math, this is what you do. You take your decimal point and you move it twice to the right. And that is now your new decimal point. So 50% in mathematics is the same as 0.5 or 0.5 or 0.50. I can write the 0 afterwards. I don't have to. That's it. As simple as that. So here we converted the percentage into a real world number. So let's do one more. I'm going to go ahead and write out the 30 right over here. And where is the decimal point right now? Right after the 30. And to convert this into a percentage, what do I do with the decimal? Sorry, to convert the percentage into a regular number, I take the decimal point and I move it left twice, which gives me 0.3 or 30. I'll write the 0 this time. You don't have to. Can someone tell me what are the real world counterparts to all of these percentages here? Well, for 10, you do the same thing. You move the decimal, which is right now here, over twice, and you get 0.1. For the 25, you move the decimal point twice to the left, which yields 0.25. Here I have to write both numbers because they're both relevant. For the 5, you still have to move the decimal over to the left twice. What do we do with this empty part here? Because we have to jump twice, but there was nothing here to jump over. You write a 0 in there. So it's going to be 0.05. Make sure you don't forget that 0, because if you forget that 0, it's going to be 0.5. And 5% is not 50%. Alright, and the last one. Possibly the easiest one. Decimal's there now. Move over once, move over twice. It stays there. 1. And it even makes sense. 100% is the whole. For example, 100% is that one pizza. It's just one. The rest of these are just part of that whole. 50% is half. 0.5, that's half. And so on and so on. Questions on this? Go ahead and copy this down real quick. Next, we're going to work with percentages, figuring out how to come up with a percentage of a whole or the opposite. And to do that, we're going to use this nifty little formula. Now, make sure you have that formula essentially memorized, because I'm not going to give you that formula on the quiz. And it's going to be very useful for the problems we're going to work with in the next week or so. Now, this looks like something that we've done before. What does that look like in general terms? Well, I have a ratio here. I have another ratio here. And they're equal to each other. That looks like a proportion to me. And that is indeed a proportion, something we just spent a good deal of time on. So this is a proportion that's going to help you figure out different parts of a percentage of a whole, or recombining it using this proportion here. The proportion said if you take a certain percentage of 100, it's the same as taking a part of a whole. And it makes sense. 100% is the whole thing. So a percent of that 100 is equivalent to a part of the whole. So let's say if you take half of the whole, there should be a percentage that corresponds to that. Now you probably know what half corresponds to. It's 50%. So 50% of 100 is the same thing as half of a whole. And usually at least 2 of the colored parts are going to be given to you. You're already going to be given the percent, the part, the whole. So 2 of those, one's going to be missing. And you just plug in, and well, we're going to do that right now. Right here, it says what percent of 80 is 10? Which part are they looking for on this proportion? Which part is missing for us? We're missing the percent portion. this one, the green. And they gave us 80, which is the whole, 10, that's the part. How do I know that the 80 is the whole and the 10 is the part? Well, the whole is usually not usually, it's always the bigger number. So we're looking for the percent. We're being given the whole and the part. Now all I have to do is plug it into our nifty little formula and it should work. So percent, which from this point on I'm going to abbreviate as P because I'm lazy, over 100 equals to the part. What's our part? The 10 over the whole, the only thing that's left, the 80. Now, what would I do next? We've done this before as well. This is solving a proportion with one missing part of a proportion. And we actually did this in the last section, 5.3. You cross multiply to find the missing part. So I'm going to cross multiply top left with bottom right, and then bottom left with top right. Just like that. And then I'm going to get cross products. And my cross products are, and I'm just going to abbreviate percent with a P. Sorry about the noise outside. We have Discovery Club passing through. So P times 80. Again, P is now percent, because I'm lazy. And 10 times 100. Alright, not so bad, not so bad. So that gives us 80p equals to 10 times 100. What's 10 times 100? That's 1,000. And what do I do next? I divide both sides by an 80. Of course, there's really nothing else for us to do. So let's do that. Let's divide this side by 80. Let's divide that side by 80. Now I don't think that's going to come out evenly, truth be told. You can use long division. I can cancel out a 0 here. So how many times does 8 go into 100? 12 approximately. It's not going to be 100% accurate. So we're going to estimate. And if you were to do your math, again, I can cancel out the 0 here from top and bottom, and 8 goes into 100 about 12 times. So P is approximately, or our percent is approximately 12. And that's it. So the percentage in this particular case, our missing part, ended up being about 12%. It's probably a little bit over that, maybe 12.2, but you get the point. Questions? All right, let's do another one. Again, a very similar problem to last one. What percent of 25 is 10? Okay, all right, looking back at our formula over here, what are they asking for? What part is missing? The percent is missing again. It's just like last time. So my formula, and again you just have to remember this one, is P, my percentage, which I'm no longer going to write out because I'm lazy, over 100 equals to, what's my whole, what's my part? My part is going to be the 10, the smaller number. The whole is going to be the 25, the bigger number. So that means 10 on top, 25 on the bottom, and of course all that I can do now is cross multiply to find my p, or the percent. Alright, it's not so bad. Let's do our multiplication, which means we have p times 25, and then we have 100 times 10, or 10 times 100. Doesn't really matter. Okay. Then we have 25p equals to 1,000. And my last step is super simple. I simply have to divide both sides by 25. Fortunately, this one's going to come out evenly. Does anyone know how many times does 25 go into 1,000? Well, 25 goes into 100 4 times, so it's going to go into 1,000 40 times. So my p, my percent, is 40%. So 10 is 40% of 25. That's how that statement reads. 10 is 40% of 25. Questions? Alright, we have 2 more problems we're going to do. Let's take a look at the next one. This one's a little different. Here they said 20 is 5% of what number? A little different than last time. What is missing here? Well, they gave us the percent. We don't need the 100, that's already there. 20 is the part or the whole. But look here, it's 5%, not 100%. The percent is always at the top. So the 20 has to correspond to the top. So they gave us the part. The whole is missing. So once again, since we know this is the percent, and 20 is 5%, that means 20 has to correspond. It has to be proportional to the 5%. The percent is on the top, 20 has to be on the top as well. So that's how I know that 20 is the part and it's not the whole. So let me label them real quick. And what's missing is the whole. So I'm going to write it up again. But in this case I know that the percent is 5. Then I know that it's over 100. And that's equal to my part, which is 20. And what's missing now is my whole, which I'm going to shorten to W, because again, lazy. But that's the whole. My next step, please, is to cross multiply this and this, the percent and the whole, and the part and the 100. Easy peasy, almost there. So 5 times a W equals to 100 times a 20. So what's 100 times 20? Well, if 100 times 2 is 200, 100 times 20 is simply 2,000. And what's my last step? Divide both sides by 5. Anyone know what 2000 divided by 5 is off the top of their head? Because I do. 5 divided by 20 is simply 4. I just add the 2 zeros right after that. So W, or the whole, in this case is 400. Once again, this is how I work out problems like this. 5 divided by 20 is 4, and these 2 zeros just get added in. So the whole is 400. So 20 is 5% of 400. 20 is 5% of 400. Does that make sense? Questions? Intermission. Last one. All right, let's get this done with. So here I have another problem that says 55 is 50% of what number? This one's pretty similar to the last one. So can someone tell me what is missing? I have the percent. 55 is the part, because 55 corresponds to the percent. The percent is on the top. That means the 55 has to be on the top too, which means it's the part. And what's missing is the whole. Alright, now that I know this, the rest becomes super easy. So once you label your knowns and unknowns, the rest is just cake. And I like cake. I'm going to go buy some cake on my way home. And eat it all. Alright, let's set it up. 15 on the top. On the bottom of 15 is always, or on the bottom of the percent is always 100. On the other side, we have the part on the top, which we now know. What we don't know is the whole, and because I'm lazy, I'm going to write a W. And at this point, I'm hoping everyone knows that we're just going to cross multiply. Okay. So, what are my two cross products? Well, the first one is W times 15. My second one is 50 times 100. It's going to be a bit of a bigger number. That's okay. Oops, that should have been in red. Oh well. I'll just give it red highlights. There we go. Now it's special. Alright, so what is 55 times 100? That one may be a little bit more difficult to do off the top of your head. But this is how I do it. What's 10 times 55? 550, add a 0. Becomes 5,500. What's my last step? Divide both sides by 15. Now that one's going to be a little bit tougher. What's 55? What's 5,500 divided by 15? In a case like this, I ignore the two zeros temporarily. I'm going to add them back in, and I go, hey, what's 55 divided by 15? Or how many times does 15 go into 55? And that's not something that's going to come out evenly, unfortunately. You'll have to use long division. It's okay. We use long division all the time. So 15 into 55. Then I'm ignoring the two zeros now because I'll just add them later. That is going to be 3 times 45, 10, add a decimal, 100. What is that? Not 7, so 6, 90, 10 again. It's going to be repeating. It's going to be 3.66666, so we're just going to round it off to 3.6. So our W is going to equal to 3.6, but I'm going to add 2 zeros, right? So if I add 1 0, it becomes 36. If I add 1 more 0, it becomes 360. Again, to show you that, because I had to add the 2 zeros, 1 0 pops it. You did not see that. 1 0 pops the decimal point in front of the 6. 1 more 0 necessitates the addition of a 0 here, so that our answer is about 360. It's not 100% accurate, but we're estimating. So 55 is 15% of 360. Questions? Thank you.